Hey, wonderful teachers, time for another Buzz tip of the week. Wanted to talk to you about the 5-away process, since some of us may be coming up on ending some of our classes. If you do this 5-away process, when it comes time to submit that final grade, it's going to go by really quick and really smooth for you. So you just go into your class and you just make sure that you have everything that you need in all your folders. If you notice that there were any times that the student was an NS, that those folders are completely empty. Also want to note that any virtual or Zoom sessions are also noted when you date and initial the folder. So when you're doing the 5-away, you're checking to make sure that all your folders are dated and initialed. So usually I go through and I do that first for each unit. And make sure this one, we have 3 more classes, so those are supposed to be empty. And then I go through and make sure that I have at least a content piece in there so that the student knows what was done during class. And you can have this filled out in a paragraph if you want to. My students know I just use a little listing of what we did in class. If they've worked on their project at all, I'll usually have like a classwork thing in there, and I do have a rubric attached to that, so there are expectations for when they work on their projects in class. So you just want to go through and make sure that you have everything. Websites and videos also count for rich text or for content pieces, so you can use the rich text activity. You can use websites and videos, any of these. File attachments, any of these would count for a content piece. We also do need to have in every unit some type of assessment that is occurring so that we have an assessment for the student. And you'll notice right now that when I was scrolling down, I've created projects with this student. And I say with the student because we created them together. You'll notice that right now they are not in any particular unit. I have them underneath the unit. It's just easier for me to see them outside the unit instead of trying to figure out where they are. Before I close the class out, before I submit that final grade, or when the student submits that project, I'm going to go ahead and move it up into the unit folder. So I can just pop it in like that. And it pops in just like that, and it's all fine and dandy. I would probably move it down to below session 8, but it doesn't really matter where it pops in as long as you have it somewhere in the unit folder, some type of assessment that you're going to use to assess their mastery of that content. You also want to take a look and make sure that all the student abilities, not only that they are green, because they'll light green if you have a non-gradable but no gradable in there. So you want to make sure that the non-gradable and the gradable have at least a number 1 in there so that we know that that student ability has been mastered. Also want to, if you're using weighted grading categories, you also want to check the weights to make sure that everything is where it should be. So, and then you want to check the grade book. Make sure that you have entered all the grades for every assignment that has been turned in. So you'll see there isn't a grade here. It hasn't been turned in yet. There's a drop box. A little piece of paper icon will appear there when it has been turned on. And of course, you know the notification will appear on the Buzz course tile homepage. So, and again, waiting for that to be turned in. So just making sure that you have everything and that needs to be turned in when it's not due till the 8th, but I have it popping up on there sooner. That way the student knows what to expect. Then you also want to go to the Genius charting, and you want to make sure that you have the same number of sessions charted in Genius that you do in Buzz, which I do here, which is really great. Then you can also compare this with Matrix to make sure that everything is lining up where it's supposed to be and that you're ending the class on time when you're supposed to be ending the class. So, and that way when it comes time to do the end of the class and submit that final grade, you can go to the grade book and submit that final grade after checking those last 5 sessions. So if you have questions, or if you need anything, just let me know. Happy charting!